Is Rachel? How's Aiden? Have you heard that?
It's good. It's good. Okay, I have 6 o'clock on my phone, so I think we're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. And Mr. Powell, I'm going to ask if you would do this favor of doing the invocation. And if you could, keep Rachel and her family in your prayers. Her son had minor surgery this morning or this afternoon, and he's doing fine. But if you could just keep them in there, I would appreciate that. Okay.
Let's pray. Father, we are just so grateful to have a chance to see government, democratic government really work. And Lord, we thank you for this place where we gather and with elected officials who have been selected by this community. And Lord, we just ask that you would bless them with your favor and with your wisdom to make good decisions about this city, to hear those who have an opportunity to speak tonight and to listen carefully and then to make wise decisions. Lord, we pray over this city that we've got some wonderful people who man the duties of City Hall and those who keep our streets and all the duties that go on in city business. Lord, we just ask you to bless them too. Help them to do their very best to accomplish what their tasks are, Lord. And we thank you for them and ask you to bless their lives. Lord, we got a city councilman who's missing tonight, and we just call on you and your healing touch, which we're very grateful for, Lord, that we have somebody to go to when we don't know. We have the insecurity of not knowing what's happening with those we love. And we just ask you to be with both, strengthen the parents who are overseeing things, help them to make wise decisions about the good health. And Lord, with your touch, heal whatever it is and bring everybody back to us safe and sound. Lord, we thank you for all the blessings that you give us this day that we don't even recognize, but the sunshine and the flowers and the wonder are appreciated. We pray a prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please stay standing. The pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Queen. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do the roll call. As we can see, Rachel Davis, Member Davis, is not in attendance tonight, but everybody else is here. And I would like to call for a motion for agenda approval.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as is.
Is there a second?
I second.
Is there any discussion? No? Okay. All in favor of approving the?
Aye.
Thank you. Everybody was in favor. At this point, we've called for a public hearing to discuss the ERU amendment to the land development ordinance. And if you would, Mr. Powell, if you could go ahead and introduce the topic
Yes, ma'am.
and we'll go forth from there.
This is a public hearing. There can be a presentation by those in favor of the amendment, and those who are opposed to the amendment can both speak after we make a short presentation. Probably one of the smallest little amendments you will ever see. It really just changes the number 210 to the number 250 when it comes to the equivalent residential unit calculation for sewage. Very small change. Its purpose is to give guidance to our staff when they are calculating when all of our capacity is used up for residential purposes. And so that's what it is. It probably decreases the number of permits that can be issued for sewer by that change in number of units. The purpose of it is to protect against violating the permit from the EPD based on how much effluent that can be produced. We're guessing and estimating. You didn't get this from your lawyer. Because I couldn't do that if I wanted to. It's really the recommendation of Precision Planning. You're expert in that field. It came from your planning, your zoning administrator that really is the wastewater division of Precision Planning that really calculated and made the recommendation. So they recommend approval of the ordinance.
Thank you. Is there anybody who would like to speak in favor of? changing the ERU from 210 to 250. Would you please state your
Yeah, I'd
name?
like
and
to
your
speak,
address?
and it's not really in favor or against, I would just had a question for council. I know Precision Planning made the recommendation, but do we actually know our daily usage?
We do.
So what are we using per day?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but we do have that information.
I'm just curious if we have, and obviously we would need an average over a long period of time.
Yeah.
Just so we actually
all those
know
figures.
what we're using and kind of what's available and what's not. I know that's kind of the elephant that's been in the room for the last several years
Mhm.
is the sewer, but if we could just know, here's what we're actually using.
Mhm.
It's not that I'm in favor, for or against. I mean, obviously Precision's got their, and the councils has their, reasons to make their decisions. I just wonder if we could get a public or at least a
You can get those records anytime you like through an open records request. We have all those
yeah, I
records.
mean, I don't even have to follow. I mean, I would, but I'd rather and I don't need them like tomorrow, but if we could calculate and just kind of see, I think that would help everyone to understand really what is available. So, that's all. Thank you.
Can you share those numbers with the rest of us?
Absolutely. Those reports come in and are available in the city hall at any time for any council member. Yeah,
So if we want them, all we gotta do is email the clerk, right?
absolutely. Is there anybody else who would like to speak in favor of? Not seeing anybody. Is there anybody who would like to speak against raising the ERU to 250? Okay, seeing as there is nobody to speak against it, we will go ahead and close the public hearing at this point and open back up into our regular meeting of a work session. And we'll go on with our new business. And I am happy to introduce our Girl Scout Emily Bovenkirk, who has come to us with a proposal. And why don't you come up, Emily? And like I told you before, we're all very friendly. We're very nice. And we will help you along with this and we'll ask you questions. And if you don't know the answer, it's okay to say, I don't know, but I can get back to you with the answer, okay? So if you have a presentation for us, I know you wanted to put in it's a lending library or a little library in this city park as a part of your Girl Scout Silver Badge program. Okay, so go ahead.
Some handouts.
Why don't you come on up and hand it out to everybody, okay? And if you have an extra one, I can take it for Councilmember Davis.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Emily, if you could, would you give us your address, please? Is that okay, Mom?
Sure.
Okay,
It's 1016 High Road Drive.
okay. You got that?
You said hybrid.
High Road.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm Emily Bovenkirk. I'm a Girl Scout and an 8th grade student at Youth Middle. And I'm here for the idea of a little lending library or a book box. And it's a small structure that's usually in a school or a park that lets people take a book, leave a book. And for this reason, it would be sustainable and self-supplying. And I would like to build this for my silver award, but I also really love books and reading. And this will help increase book access in Walton County. Sometimes book access is limited because the library has short hours and in summer schools are closed. And according to the website littlefreelibrary.org, there are no other lending libraries in Walton County. I plan to finance this project with my leftover money from selling cookies and by doing a book drive in my neighborhood. And I plan to promote it by posting it on the Monroe Area Moms Facebook page and registering it with littlefreelibrary.org. And the handouts I gave you are a rough idea of how the book box would look, as well as the locations I like to put it. I think it'd be great in this park since lots of people go here and people of all ages as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for Emily?
No, but I'm pleased to see it because I've been thinking about putting one in my front yard.
Emily, what's your timeline? When are you hoping to have something like this done if it's approved by the city?
I wanting to build it with my grandpa, so I think that would take about a month to build and collect all the books for, and then I would like to have it in sometime this summer,
Okay. Would you need any assistance from the city?
most likely. Not.
Oh, someone has to do that.
We as a family are prepared to help dig the hole for it, but if the city could do that, that would be awesome.
Okay,
Just,
okay.
you know, I mean, we've dug holes before, but it's
Yeah.
been in the Midwest where the soil is
Yes.
sandy and lovely and not concrete. So if that is at all an option, that would be fantastic. If it's not, we're prepared to help her complete that part of the project.
What location are you looking at? Have you looked at the park and where you thought you might like to put it?
Yes, the stars on the sheets are the locations that I think would be best.
Okay. And are you doing all types of books, adult books, children's books? What are you focusing on? Or is there a focus?
Mostly on books for middle to high school ages.
Okay. Okay. Are you? Go ahead.
Anyone can use it, and when you same book, you leave book. Right.
I'm going to ask our attorney a question, if you wouldn't mind. Okay, I've got a question. Mr. Powell, when something like this is done and the city accepts it, and it's approved through the council, and Emily is going to, has stated it's self-sustaining because of exchange, the upkeep on the actual box, that goes to the city? Is that an agreement that has to be stated up, or?
It's not an agreement, but if the intent is to give it to the city, and then upkeep would be the responsibility of the city, that would be normal.
Okay,
If there's an expectation otherwise, we would have to do an agreement.
okay,
The other thing is, you know, the city park changes over time, and it could be that it gets moved to another location by the city. It's not necessarily fixed there permanently, but it can be moved if necessary. It's good to honor the giver by putting it somewhere where else it can be utilized.
sure, okay. Are you going to put anything on the box about what it's for, or how it got there, or why you're doing it?
Usually for the website, gofreelibrary.org, they give you some sort of like plaque to put it with their own website on it.
Okay,
But I'm for part of my project, I'm building a website with more like book access videos and like locations of libraries and things like that.
Okay.
So I would probably attach that as well.
any other questions, anybody?
I think it's a very cute idea.
Okay. How this whole process works is that we have a discussion today after a presentation. And then when we have our next council meeting, the council will vote on their decision on about bringing that into the city or not. Looks pretty good. But I can't speak for council. So thank you for coming. We appreciate you bringing this. We think it's a really great idea. We love the idea of having this in our park. If we have any other questions, I know how to get in touch with both you and your mom. But we're going to go ahead and have just a brief discussion on it so we can be prepared for our next meeting and so we can be ready to vote on it. And then once we vote on it, if you'd like to come to the meeting, it's the 9th of May. It's a Thursday night at 6 p.m. where we'll be voting on it, and you're welcome to come and hear the decision, or we can get in touch with you if you'd rather us do that. Okay? But thank you for coming. You did a great job. Okay, anybody have any discussion or comments, or?
I will state I have no objections. But I can me either.
I should have asked this while Emily was up here.
It's okay, we can.
The colors of the box, is this what you plan on it to look like? You know, white and, no, do you have a color in mind?
I was thinking of like maybe painting some flowers on it, so it'd be multiple different colors.
Something that goes with the park theme.
Right.
Flowers work.
Floral.
Okay,
Colors.
all right, great, thanks. Okay, guys, we'll go ahead and move on to the next topic. It's the City of Walnut Grove Lions Club Bird Bath donation to the Pollinator Garden. Another example. And I had sent out a invite to the president of the Lions Club, and he was not able to make it. It's Mr. Moore. He was not able to make it here tonight. And then I spoke with Ms. Pilgrim this week and on another subject matter, and she said that she would like to recuse herself from this discussion because she is a member of the Lions Club and she would like to speak on behalf of the Lions Club. So we still have a group here. Have you ever seen this happen? Yes. This is all okay, right?
Yes,
Okay.
perfectly.
So Linda's going to speak on behalf of the Lions Club. Thank you, Nathan. Yeah.
And let me on my notes.
Okay.
I'm a little upset because the Girl Scout had more badges than I got.
Let's squint, okay? So we can see it there.
My name is Linda Pilgrim. I live at 910 Park Street, right up the road. And I've been a member of Lions Club here in Walnut Grove for quite a few years, and it's a good way, it's my way of giving back to the city, back to the community where I've lived for 52 years. And it's how I give back to a small portion of what I've been blessed with. Okay, a few months ago, the city and Walton County Master Gardeners in agreement put in our pollinator garden, which is looking very pretty, I might say. Okay, the Lions Club has volunteered to do some maintenance on the garden. Now, I'm not a gardener. Of all the gifts God ever gave me, a green thumb is not one. But I will do the maintenance with people who know what they're doing, so I will be there. Let's see. Okay, our Lions Club wants to donate a bird bath for, which I gave you a picture of. Anyone? And what we're asking is the average age of our club is like 72 years old. And I'm asking that Public Works can help us get it to the garden and help us set it up. If there's any extra materials or anything that's needed for the bird bath, Lions Club will pay for it. They don't have to leave city limits to do it. It's with the bird bath is within city limits. And if we can just get a little help with them, we'll coordinate with him and you or whoever you want us to do. But just to get it over there, we'll get it up and we'll maintain it once it's up.
And this is the bird bath that you shared.
Yes.
And this was coming from someone's yard or is it brand new?
No, it's used. It's rustic. It's coming from Mayor Moore. It's coming from Mayor Moore's yard.
Okay, rustic.
He's our president, has been for a long time.
Right. Okay. Okay. Do you guys have any questions?
I do have a question about the pollinator garden. You were saying that you help with the maintenance, but someone else is sort of in charge of the maintenance. Who
Well,
is
the Lions Club agreed to do, one of the words they use is deadheading. And I don't know what it is, but I'll be there to do it because, like I say, I'm not a gardener, but the other ladies in the club are, so they know what to do when we get there.
So there's Lion Club members that
Yes.
understand.
Hiccups. Under that says that's the city of Walnut Grove responsibilities, the deadening and the trimming and the annual color change in and outs and ongoing garden maintenance. It doesn't say, I guess one of my questions is I've seen this. I know that this project didn't come before council.
Mhm.
When I was on council, it was just done. And when you wanted to donate, the Lions Club wants to donate this, I went back and I tried to find where the history of it was to find out what was going on. And because I was never a part of it. And on here, it doesn't say any responsibility of the Lions Club. It's just the city of Walnut Grove responsibilities and Walton County Master Gardeners roles and responsibilities. And I just want to make sure we're clear because if it's the city's responsibility, then I need to know that. Because with them, we have to have our public works do that. So it just needs to be, just like when we were asking Emily about who was going to be doing what. We just have to be clear on those things.
That's something we talked to Miss Janet Bone about and worked out some kind of agreement, and with them, they can put it in terms that means gardening, which I can't do.
Okay. But it doesn't show any responsibility of the Lions Club on this agreement. It just says City of Walnut Grove responsibility and Walton County Master Gardener's responsibility. It doesn't say Lions Club is responsible for anything. So is that something, Tony?
Well, that's what we're volunteering to do.
Okay, but we just have to have it,
Mhm.
you know, because if it's gonna, you guys.
We have Mark and Miss Bone, and we can work up
Okay. I
some kind of
understand.
agreement and put it in words that make sense. Because, like I say, I'm not a gardener.
Yeah.
I will be there to help.
Sure.
I've never missed a project that we volunteered to do.
Sure.
And
Right.
I will be there to help put it up, and I'll be there to help.
Now I know what deadheading is. You know, that's all summer long, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Miss Janet told me that.
That's why I don't have.
That's why I don't garden. It's work.
Yeah,
I don't
Yeah.
do that.
yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
And just like what Mr. Powell had shared with Emily about the box,
Mhm.
it may be, my concern with the bird bath is, I've had a bird bath, and they take daily maintenance. Because once you have water in there and the sun dries it out, it gets dirty, and then there's algae, and we have no water source down there, and that's concerning.
Well, you know where I live.
Oh, I do.
It takes me about 90 seconds to get to the roundabout.
I do. That's a big commitment. That's an everyday commitment, or every other day maybe. That's a huge commitment. Is a pollinator garden really where you have a bird bath? Because don't birds eat bugs? I don't know. I'm asking. I don't know. But,
But I do have a question,
Yeah.
before we get beyond that.
okay.
On the Lions Club page, when this was announced by the Lions Club, it stated that in the fall of 23, Lions Club got approval from the city to create a Walnut Grove roundabout.
Pollinator garden?
Yes,
Round.
I'm sorry, create a Walnut Grove roundabout pollinator garden. Then it goes on to say, our public works, working with Master Gardener and our public works crew to design the garden. The city approved the funding and the upkeep. And our Lions agreed to help maintain the garden monthly and to donate a bird bath. For me, that's leaving the city pretty much in charge of everything. So, you know, I'm looking at it from that standpoint, that since we don't have an agreement with the Lions Club of what's going to be what, that we do need to keep in mind that it's just like the library, it will fall to us unless we make a different agreement.
Mhm.
We can create an agreement.
Mr. Powell, do you have any recommendations for this?
Yes, ma'am, but I think, you know, an agreement needs to be done. And
Well, the-
got a lot of, sort of a lot of issues, you know, in terms of scope. I don't have the piece of paper you're.
No.
Okay.
Mhm.
But you know, I feel comfortable we can put it together and not have any trouble whatsoever in terms of who's responsible for what components and we just need to understand them. And then there is a aspect of it that Lions Club members who are working on city property have to understand that they're responsible for their own safety and care and injury.
Yeah, and we have a project where we clean up the parkway quarterly.
Mhm. So
We
this
go up one side and down the other, so we know that.
won't be hard to get it.
The only thing I have to say about it is, and I don't know if pollinator garden is the right place for a bird bath. I don't know. I mean, you're gonna have to carry jugs down there every other day to fill it up and wash it and then fill it back up with water. And just first thought, looking at the picture, and I'm very honest. sometimes to a fall. And this bird bath just has red stains on it. It looks dirty. It's not new. And our roundabout in our downtown area where we're building, I want it to be beautiful and new and, this isn't going to be a huge fountain or anything, but I just, this is very clearly used.
It is.
And so, I can't ask for a donation like, for, I don't know if a bird bath would be appropriate anyway, but maybe like something for the bees or the butterflies or something like that to help with the pollination, I think would fit better in the pollinator garden.
Any more questions?
Did the city pay for all of these items? All of the
Pay
funding
for the plants. The
and
work-
and the compost and all the stuff going
Yes.
into it, and then all the employee time? All the employees? time.
Yes.
How long did it take to install the whole thing? Over what period of time?
I don't really know the time period
Okay. Was
because,
it like a week?
because
I think if they were out there.
I
before,
think it took, I think the planning took longer, but our volunteers did the plans.
Yeah.
But, I don't know how long it took to get the compost
Okay.
and
So it's-
probably spread it.
So it was mostly so you helped spread it?
No, I didn't. I was
Oh.
actually in the hospital.
Oh, that's right. Okay. All right. Yeah.
April through September last year, I wasn't out and about very much.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So I didn't have spread it. I didn't have plant.
Okay. Okay. But other members, of the-
But other than that,
right?
yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
Mayor,
Yeah.
while we're talking about the cost, I tried to do an estimate, tried to look for receipts and stuff and haven't really turned up the receipts of what was spent. So I had to work with what I had. And of course, the estimate for the plants and supplies was from $2,100 to almost $2,700 for the city to spend.
Right.
I don't know what they actually spent. But in that list of items that she had, one thing I noticed was that the border stones were not included in that. And I tried to get an approximate count of those border stones. It looks like there's about 100 of those. So I tried to price those out, and I came out with those probably cost about $1,600. And then, of course, we've got the workers and their time. I based it on 3 days. I don't know that they've got that much time total in or not, but I just wanted to get an idea of what it cost us to put this in. So based on that rate, which may be off, I'm not saying that my numbers are accurate, but based on that rate, we've got about $5,800 into that already. Number one, that should come to council with that kind of money involved. So I'm a little disappointed that it didn't, so that council had the opportunity. I was not on council at that time, so, and I don't know that any of the other council members were aware of it at the time that it was taking place. I say that for two reasons. One is I want it clear of what we've already got into it, and so that whatever we proceed with is going to be an addition to that. So, as we have to replace mulch or other plants or other things, that's going to be additional cost. And with us getting ready to have maybe some construction and things in that area, I sort of suspect that it's going to fall by the wayside. So I'm hesitant to approve continuing expenses on it. Now, granted, if they're willing to keep it up and pay the price of what it would take for the time being to keep it up, we certainly can look at that.
It would be my hope with the construction that is going to eventually take place down here, that the pollinator garden, if it has to be moved, that we effectively move it to a different location and set it back up again as in the state that it was meant to be, so it can still provide the beauty and enjoyment for our citizens. I don't know that the roundabout is the best spot for it, but, we're still looking for all of the expenses and the receipts that went with it. And, we're having a tough time finding that, so I'll reach back out to Mr. Moore on that also, to see if he has copies of those things, or the master gardener from the group. But I thank you both for your comments, and we will, work with Tony to get some kind of an agreement out. If at the next council meeting, it is decided that we are going to move forward with the acceptance of the bird bath or the agreement of the Lions Club helping out with, and with their portion of the responsibilities.
Well, if the city spent money, I know, wouldn't there be receipts at City Hall?
There would be. Mhm. We've looked at it.
Well, aren't they?
I can't tell you, I wasn't the mayor at the time. I can't tell you. We're looking through all of the credit card statements. We've looked at Home Depot, Lowe's, the Grover's outlet.
Public Works?
Hmm?
Be Public Works.
Public Works doesn't hold their own receipts for that.
If you spend money, he's got receipts for it.
Did he go out and buy all that
I don't
stuff?
know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Okay, well, we can check
I
with it.
wasn't, but
Yeah, we can
that
definitely.
would be a good place to look if you're not finding them at City Hall.
They're not listed as the pollinator garden in the accounts where you kind of know where it looks. It's kind of like you're having to go through everything, at least that's what I'm finding. It's the places I suspected to find them, I'm not finding them.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they're not there, like, it
Right,
just
yeah,
means.
we're continuing to look.
Well, all the plants should have come from Growers Outlet. That's what.
Yeah, but did the city purchase them and what was, Janet, is that her name? Janet?
Janet Bunn.
I am wondering, for some reason, I'm thinking that she purchased them and the city reimbursed her, and so, is that not
I found
right?
reimbursement. And it was about $100.
Yeah, so that's why I thought that was because I sent a reimbursement to her.
I know the city bought it. I'm not sure. I think it was on a credit card because we have no receipts that ran through QuickBooks for it. So we're,
It's how we pay the bills if we don't have any receipts.
well,
They'd
they
be
went
attached
to wherever Grover's Outlet or Home Depot or wherever it was purchased and used a credit card. We didn't write a check for it. So,
The bookkeeping was done, it would have been under the Synova's credit card statement. Because in the past, the credit card statements have not been broken down.
Yeah, they have.
They've been broken down so you can see it as the payment and stuff, but when it goes, it doesn't go into QuickBooks that way.
Okay.
The accounting has been not done correctly. Or the way we can see things, so. Okay, so that's what we'll do, guys. We'll go ahead and vote on this at the next council. I'll make sure that we get Councilmember Davis another copy of the bird maps. And Ms. Pilgrim, thank you for speaking up.
You're welcome.
Sorry, I sound like this, guys. I'm doing the best I can. All right, let's move on to the exterior view of the building for track 2 in the enclave of Dial Farm. And Mr. Coleman has shared with all of us a rendering of what the buildings look like as you drive into, this is the proposed appearance. When you drive into the enclave from 138, and these are the buildings on the left-hand side. And what we're doing is, this is a commercial building and it's got retail or restaurants on the bottom or offices.
Yes, ma'am.
And then on the top floor is loft
Yes, ma'am.
or business loft.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's 2 buildings, correct?
And there are 2 buildings and they're identical, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anybody have any thoughts from council?
I printed out, something that I thought would be a little more pleasing to the eye than, the renderings that we currently have. And I printed enough for everyone to. It's just one that I agree on. This. as you can see, the thing that I printed has just more character than what is on the rendering. And so I would just,
I don't agree with that. I like this.
okay,
That's, I think it looks very sharp.
Okay,
I like it.
I'm not in love with it, Billy. When I saw it, I thought it was more storage unit. That was my first thought. I'm not saying it's not serviceable by any means, that it doesn't probably fit what we probably got in some of our specs.
I do love the big windows and
It's
so.
similar to the gas station. The building of it.
Do it.
It's similar to the gas
I
station,
think the gas station has a lot more character than this.
but it has similarities, is what I'm saying.
There are similarities, there's red brick, yes.
I mean, maybe if there were something to break it up, like a different brick between the windows, or I don't know, you know, and that might be a simple fix. Something of that nature might be a simple fix for you. You're the builder, so you know better than that.
I wouldn't change anything. I like it. It looks good.
We just went off the guidance that we had. I mean, there
Right.
is.
And there's just not a lot.
Yeah, the guidance that we were given and, you know, but 138 quarter, we were told needs to match the existing development where Domino's and Wine, the Grove and all that. So I mean, you know, if things, whatever this council has, I have 4 things: questions, concerns, recommendations, and consideration. Whatever you want, please tell me.
All right, I'm gonna share these with you, and I'm gonna share these with you. These are just some pictures I have.
Okay.
And then I want you guys just to look at them, just to get an idea. And then I'm gonna share them back and forth. And then you guys decide, what do you want to send with Billy? And let's make some real recommendations of what we're looking for. So he is not going round and round trying to figure this out.
Absolutely.
Well, one thing I want to say is, I'm all for, two, I even think you need this in a 3-story on your town center. I'm outside the town center. I like this, but this is not Dial Farm. You know, that PUD that was approved is Dial, the enclave at Dial Farm. This is not a farm. So, you know, again, we were given a directive to go with, but after speaking with the mayor and understanding the actual available capacity, I would love to make these 2 1-story. There's no capacity for 2-story. I'm gonna be lucky if I can get 1-story commercial. I think the lofts need to be taken off of this. They were put on there when I was issued the development permit for this tract of land. If I have a development permit for the tract, with the total for the sewer, and have been trying to write a check for that so that we can proceed, but the capacity not there.
How much capacity do you need for both of these buildings as is?
The guy brought that with me. I'm glad you.
Do you like, can I finish? Check anything that you might like. If you don't like anything, don't check anything. Guys, if you see anything that's like, and specific.
What I have is a permit to develop this tract. Has 10 launched at 6,000 per ERU, 1,200 gallons per day, / 210 gallons per day per ERU. Total sewer connection fee, $94,285.71.
So the ERUs for both buildings is how much?
$94,285.71.
That's financially, and the actual ERUs,
1,200 GD.
gallon per day.
GD / 210 gallons per day per ERU equals 5.7. This came from Precision Planning.
5.7 ERUs. How many gallons per day? 12,000. 1,200.
10 large units, and that's what this is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. And then that's 10 ERUs, and then
The bottom is the commercial.
5.7. This is for
So he needs 10 ERUs for the
Mhm.
lofts?
the lofts, because he has 10 lofts.
Okay.
5 times 2 is 10.
Only 10.
Okay.
And then 1,200 gallons per day, 2 tens per gallon at see, this is just a computation. So he needs 1,200 gallons per day for the office units.
For the commercial space. And we're prepared, to purchase that. We
Yeah.
bought the permit and
Yeah.
are prepared to purchase the
So
sewer.
your original agreement, didn't it state that part of yours was not to be done until we got to phase 2, which we're getting ready to implement, of course? The
Do you like any other words?
sewage system.
Any words or anything?
Well, no, the original agreement, it wasn't, but if it was, I don't have that in writing. If you did, I'd love to have a,
Okay, I'll see you.
I don't know that I got a copy.
I'm pretty sure I got a copy of the middle grade, whether or not I got it.
Probably
Feeling that.
That's all I wanted. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, that's really.
But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm willing to make it one story for now. I mean, we've got
Mhm.
several more lots. This is just one lot. We've
So
got
make some notes on
quite a
that.
few.
Did you guys make any notes on
No,
Yeah, I mean, really, this one's very similar, but it's like got the lighter down here, the darker in here, so that kind of,
that? Look at this one. This has the different textures, but it still has the brick. But it adds some dimension.
I like.
And not that far off from what you've already done.
Yeah, everything that you've printed, I would choose this one. Of the science.
But we need to give Mr. Coleman some real.
right, yeah, I don't-
Initial desire was to match John's Supermarket. If you've seen John's, you know that we have is designed by the same folks that
So this is what
designed
Stephanie just
John's
ordered.
Supermarket.
And I like that look.
So the building did, I mean, the rendering, it don't really do justice to, if you go by John's Supermarket,
Right.
then you're gonna see. what the
Sure.
building looks.
But if you're asking for our approval,
Right.
we've got to make sure we're giving you real direction.
Right.
So there's no question. So we're gonna send you, give you some ideas and
Actually, I kind of like the red brick.
Billy, if you, Mr. Coleman, sorry.
Call me Bill.
If you would like to discuss a one story,
Break it up.
I wonder how the people in the enclave would feel, the residents.
There you go.
No, it's not, it's okay, guys. If you would like to discuss that option, if that's something that you would like to do.
Yeah, I mean, we have so many lots that obviously, based on the conversation tonight, originally we were gonna go up through there with identical buildings.
Yeah.
And make everything look uniform.
Mhm.
And I don't
Yeah.
see that that's what what this council wants. So,
Well, and we can still, have the same architectural characteristics on buildings that complement each other. It doesn't have to be crazy like.
we have a daycare center plan for one we're working on, so
Mhm.
that one will be 4 sides brick all the way on the track 6, and
Yeah.
then quick service restaurant Dairy Queen still talking about track 3.
Great.
So, the gas station's on track 1, so it'll be a nice mixture, but everyone will have my intention was for everyone to have the farm look, which is the houses are craftsman style with brick accents. And
Absolutely.
that's kind of what
Yeah.
we're thinking on these builds, and that's what was approved on the gas station.
I don't think we're too far off. I think we can probably get close to where we want to be.
Yeah, I just think it just needs more characteristic.
To
Just
break it up a little bit, like.
Yeah.
And
Different
with the,
colors of brick and stuff does some of that.
Is there anything you guys could give back to Billy that he could take a look at?
That's pretty much the only one, that one, and this one, yes.
and I think the main difference, I'm not talking about these colors specifically.
Yeah.
I'm talking about just how it,
Can I see that?
has different textures and,
What do you think of that?
That's eclectic. I mean, I like all of them myself. I just, we know which one. This is kind of an eclectic look. You got brick and siding and and metal
It doesn't have to be all of that. It's just,
institutional to me, but whatever y'all think, I mean, you know.
I think this is just, it looks like a lot to me personally. And when we have people drive through the city.
Well, that's the view you got, you know, well, you're taking.
And depends it all, like you said, all these buildings are gonna look the same or very similar, so we need to add, this is the start of it. So we need to make a decision on what we want us to look like.
Well, like the balconies, instead of them being a faux balcony with sliding glass doors, actually having maybe a 4-foot balcony.
Yeah, I mean, you start getting.
I know that.
You know, safety issues and things like that. I mean, you know, we want them to open the door and stay on the inside. We don't really want people on the outside.
Just some big windows.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, one thing is, it's exactly like John, so, you know, we put the coins, we put the water table at the front, the soldier at the top, so, you know, that's a better view of the side. But y'all can let me know. I mean, I'm open for whatever whatever your recommendations are.
Back picture building. Is that open there like?
Yes, ma'am.
For the.
Yes, when you go in, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And this would be facing the neighborhood.
The back, yes.
Are there any
The back
trees?
side. Yeah, there's a buffer between the residential and the commercial.
Does that also go through to the commercial, like lower floors have like a back door there then? Off that hallway, or just the upper floors?
That
Like,
just goes to the upper. These are doors that come out
okay,
the rear.
so really this parking back here would be more for the resident,
Yes.
not for, okay,
And here you can see
All right.
that that's the corridor,
right,
rear corridor,
yeah, this is like a hallway. Well, when you get to the second level,
and that.
yeah, that's the hallway.
Actually, the level one shows that there are doors at the back.
And really, that is a much better picture on the last page than the actual color rendering.
Okay,
The color rendering, I like it, but it's like putting it right here. You know, you can't get a good view, but if you look at the last page of that, the black and white, that's the architecture of your building.
after looking on the neighbor across. Come from a bank.
Gave you a fancy on the front.
There are entrances on the first level to the back, because there has to be 2 entrances on a commercial building.
Yes.
Right, but it goes straight out to the street. That's what I was asking. Did
And there's
the
a
hallway
courtyard
also
between
go
the
go
buildings.
down as well?
So the courtyard as well, the upstairs will have an exit to the courtyard.
So these are kind of like efficiency type or what we call loft apartment.
Yes, sir.
What if there's only enough sewer capacity to build one of them?
Well, that's what I said. I think at this point, in order for me to actually move forward, is we need to eliminate the second floor of the first set of buildings and go to the 1-story commercial space until we get more capacity. Because I don't want to build something that I don't have capacity for. One, I can't get funding for it. Two, it's just not smart investment. I'd rather just make them 1-story and get us some, restaurants, a Mexican restaurant we've got ready to move in, and, there's several others. But they need the space, and so we think getting the 2-story capacity right now is a long shot. So, I just want to get something going. We're losing momentum. We lost the last boom, and now we've gone through a little lull. Hopefully we can catch the next wave and finish us out. And there's another time.
Only build one building though. What if it's
Well, no,
just-
I mean, we need to do the 2, I mean, because they're on the 1 flat. I don't think you'd want to start trying to CO half of a lot. That, that would be,
I just don't know if the sewer capacity is there, that's why I'm asking.
well, one thing I talked to Joe, and I'm sure Tony's familiar with this as well, is you box them out. And then rather than no one knows our sewer capacity, because you got to know your customers and then run it through And then you gotta know exactly how many square feet they want. So if we do the shell, basically a box is the shell. You finish the parking lot, you finish the outside, you have all the infrastructure. But, you know, you leave the inside open so that, hey, when the Mexican restaurant comes, they can say, we want 3,500 square feet, or we want, 6,000 square feet. And then you go in and you finish it out accordingly. And at that point, we can figure exactly how much sewer we need.
And if you're doing a restaurant, it's gonna need a lot more sewer capacity because of grease traps and things like that.
Well, I mean, there's a couple of, you don't have to run your grease through your sewer. You can catch your grease and pump it out, bring the truck in and pump it out separately, so.
Yeah, that's how it has.
Right.
And every,
But doesn't it take more, doesn't it still take sewer capacity?
it does, it's not anywhere. If you look in the city code, it shows how you calculate capacity based on the type of tenant that you have.
That's why our planning and zoning officer, Kelvin Walter,
Right.
Yeah.
does all that.
And he's the one that gave us that estimate, so
Right.
we told him what we wanted on the bottom floor, so I think that capacity is probably available. Say, y'all would know you better than myself, but I just, if I get an architectural approval for a one-story building, like we we gotta have commitment, and we're ready to pay for this sewer, so if we have it, sorry, actually, we need to know it again.
Tony, if we were to approve a one-story building, that's altering the PUD. So what happens there? Because the PUD was approved for two-story buildings.
There's no approved buildings in the PUD. The zoning was approved in the PUD,
Right.
and everything's C2. There's no one-story, two-story, three-story. That's all gonna be y'all's call.
A CT would not normally have loss. And your question is a really good one. The step that you're in right now is just a condition that's in that PUD that says the architectural has to come back to you and get approval. Y'all are doing that wonderfully. It's the exterior elevations.
Yeah.
If the PUD approved multifamily or residential on top of the commercial as part of the PUD, then it does require a zoning, not just. And normally that's the case for the PUD. It's the architectural part of it is part of the condition. It just comes up as a approval from mayor council. If you change the blend of the PUD, it usually comes back as zoning action.
So we got sold the permit for a project that we can't build? Is that what you just said?
No, the zoning is not permitting on the sewer. It's simply approving the utilization of the property and restricting it. For the PUD, you've got a lot of flexibility. So what you say in your drawings is what you get with the PUD. And if you change that drawing, you most likely go have to rezone in order to extract something from
But
that.
there is no drawings in the PUD.
But, and I don't know. I mean, it's a Joe Walter question. I think that's at a different level.
Yeah.
Than just approval of architecture.
Good. Any other questions? Do you have any questions for us?
Any recommendations or considerations that I can go away with tonight? I mean, are we looking at getting a two-story approved in this city, or is it gonna be one story, or is it wasting my time bringing these drawings, or?
I don't think you're wasting your time, Billy, but you do know how much available sewer capacity we have. I think you've heard our discussion in the past few weeks or months that as a council, we are concerned that if we are staying at the 210 VRUs and not where we brought it back up to tonight, or will be voting on or talking about, there is a concern that with the plight of moderate income housing and the number of people living in homes these days, that it is a possibility once all of the homes in Enclave are built, along with any of the businesses that are there, that we could be teetering right on the edge of EPD requirements, and that is considered to us if we stay at 210. So do we have a bunch of extra right now because we don't have everything built? Yeah, there's extra in there now. Would it be wise for us to go ahead and approve extra usage Not in my opinion, because eventually it's gonna catch up to us. And if we don't have the second phase of the sewer plant built, so it will accommodate that, we'll find ourselves in real trouble with big fines, and that's not where we want to go.
But don't we want to use what we have? That's all.
Absolutely want to use what we have, but what we have to do is look at. You have, I mean, right now, Enclave has 150 homes. Those are committed.
Right.
We have, some with the county, those are committed. Then we've got some with a couple of businesses in the fire, one business in the fire station. Those are committed. We're at capacity. We have 600 gallons available.
What do we have committed to the county?
42 taps.
No,
Yes, we do.
we don't.
It went with the land.
It's there, it's got restrictions on it.
But
But
it. But when they donated the land, to Walton County, this 42 taps reverted back
No.
to Walnut Road.
If we pay the money back.
it's not exactly, it was anticipated to be a subdivision.
Yeah,
Uh,
those were residential taps.
right.
And they're not building houses,
Yeah, well,
and they're not building in Walnut Road.
there is,
So how do they have 42 taps?
I think it's because they bought that capacity and Mayor Moore made a commitment to serve the pond. And there is a provision inside that contract that allows for conversion of those residential taps to commercial by the owner on the property. And so the anticipation was that it would be restaurants, but we didn't know. We don't know what the county's utilization is completely. I mean, we got a number of 9,000 gallons or so just this week, but the commitment to the county was made, and they bought the reserve capacity from the prior owner. And it looks like it goes away because nobody's going to build a residential on the property. But the mayor made a commitment, and the agreement itself allows for that transition to occur. So.
That original commitment also did include commercial, it was not residential. I was, part of the sewage board at the time that occurred, before you could pass, and that was in order for us to be able to even build the system, and it was agreed that those taps would stay with the land, that was part of.
And that's the analysis that everybody's talking about. There is a conversion, there's commercial conversion, not the best agreement in the world. There is a commercial conversion provision in it. And then the park was something that the city encouraged. And to make available capacity for the park was part of that commitment. Now, it's not something that the county could take the 42 taps and sell to somebody else. It's got to be on property. So we're talking about the utilization of the park.
And that's why we met with them on this week, beginning of this week on Monday, to find out what their estimated numbers would be. And we did, and that will come at the next work session.
So hopefully we have enough capacity to do a little more building at the Dial Farm. We're dying on the vine, and
We hear you, Billy.
restaurant, I mean, we need a cleaner, we got a daycare center, wouldn't that be nice? To have a brand new,
It would have been great to have to spend a couple of years.
yeah, daycare center, so, please send me a directive on your architectural, and we'll give you what you want. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And if y'all have any inputs in. You want to speak against?
The next thing on the agenda is the West credit card and Wheels Fleet Management. I know that Rachel or Ms. Davis had asked for this, for health manager for this to be on the agenda. And so the statements and the receipts are here. She also brought to my attention that there's another corporation or company that does this type of thing. It's called Wheels Fleet Management, and they go even further than WEX. And it's a lower cost, and they also keep track of maintenance records, and anything that could have to do with the vehicle, insurance, everything. So we're gonna be looking into that too. Does anybody have any discussion about the actual invoices or receipts or usage or anything or recommendations, anything?
Yeah. After looking through, I don't really have recommendations. I had some questions in my mind, but I think probably the best answer to that is for me to get with our public works manager to ask some questions about usage and where that falls and kind of find out what he's been told in the past to do or not do. Just looking at like the miles per gallon, looking at the type of gas that we're using. I'm not sure I'm in agreement with it, but I'm also not sure that that's not exactly what he's told to do. So
Right.
I think that would be the better answer for me to get with him for my questions and then come back to council when we look at this again.
Because we're using premium gas.
Using premium.
There may be a reason for that. Okay. All right. Fortunately, as we're working on this budget, we're coming across a lot of things on different accounts, and we're able to go ahead and streamline a few things and answer questions. And when we're not spending, and this is just another one of those things that just popped up. So we'll get together and we'll talk about some concerns and see if we can align that to better usage a little bit and maybe perhaps go with another company. So we'll bring it back for discussion, okay, guys? Is anybody already with that? Is anybody have any questions or comments? No? Okay. All right, the credit card statement, I can let you know that we are still not receiving it. Credit card statements, Kimberly did get one today. She's finally got access to it, and she has been working on it. She will have it to you tomorrow with all of the receipts attached.
If you'd like the copy of just the statement, right now, I do have copies for everybody, but I'll have receipts with it. It's to you an email.
She'll have
If
that
you
for
want
you
this, I can
tomorrow
send
at
it.
5, okay, guys?
I'll wait and get the receipts. Fine with me.
But if you'd like a copy, stop by and see Kimberly after the meeting. Okay, Tree City, I'm gonna move on. Is there any more discussion on that, guys? All right. Tree City USA, it's supposed to be celebrated on Arbor Day, which is tomorrow. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and look at getting a group of people and citizens to create a tree border department. We've had this group together before. We have been a Tree City. We're not one right now. We also have to establish a tree care ordinance, which they make available to us very easily. And then we have to maintain a community forestry program with cutting down trees, taking care of trees, pruning trees, whatever. And it has to be at $2 per capita, and we have approximately 1,500 or so citizens right now. So that means a $3,000 budget to put towards that, which is what we do. I know we just we just paid $4,999 twice for tree cutting down. So that would always be involved in that, but it would have to be in a separate budget. But if there's anybody interested in being on the tree board, we could always have celebrations. Arbor Day could be a tree planting. We could beautify the city on different things. It's a good way to get involved with the support of the city, but citizens helping to run it, which would just be fantastic. So we invite anybody who is interested to just go ahead and get in touch with us up at City Hall. I think it'd be great to get this going again. And I don't think you can have too many trees in the city. So it would be really nice. And we can sidewalks, the whole deal. Anybody have any comments or questions?
So we are looking at the possibility of going back to being a tree city. again.
Absolutely.
Okay. Do we currently follow our tree ordinances or do we know?
I don't know,
Okay.
to be perfectly honest.
How many people need to be on the tree board?
I don't believe that there's a number.
Okay.
A tree board or a department? Yeah. I think just a group of 5 or so would be, or 4, or 3. Wonderful. So if there's any, spread the word, if there's any interest, we'll go ahead and make sure we get it out on the city website, too, and also on our Facebook page so that we can invite people to come be a part of it. And, hopefully we'll have some response because it would be really nice to have some community involvement in, different areas.
Does council have to vote on this, or can this be instituted via?
It would be a resolution.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. An ordinance, I'm sorry, it would be an ordinance, so we would have to vote on it,
Do
yeah.
we already have an ordinance since we used to be a tree city?
We did have an ordinance in the past. Mr. Powell, in that situation, we have to do another one, or we just go ahead and reactivate it? What do we do?
If it's in your code, and I haven't seen it,
Mhm.
So it could be reactivated, it's by mandatory, it would need to be reactivated if it's in the ordinance. I don't believe it is, and I think you'll have to adopt a new one. And probably whatever the GMA or the sponsoring group is, you have to meet that criteria.
Right, got it, okay. Okay, so yes, we will go ahead and, look to see if it's already in our code. If it's not, we'll get an
What
ordinance.
for any changes we made in 2019?
Thank you. History buff, okay. And then, can bring this back to the meeting in May and, discuss that, okay? Is there any other questions, comments, or anything? Okay, great. All right, City Walnut Grove, city limit welcome signage. I'm just gonna go ahead and start share something. I know during our, when we were running for office, something I spoke on was that as you come into the city of Walnut Grove, you get a little green city of Walnut Grove sign. It's not very welcoming. Even some of the very small cities in this area have very nice signs. And while we don't want to expend a lot of financial obligation towards the signage, it would be nice to have something that welcomes people to our little city. Councilmember Davis, who also serves on the DDA, has spoken with the DDA about signage. And I'm gonna go ahead and hand out to you guys, an idea that she, had come up with based on her meeting that she had from discussing things with the DDA. And as you notice on the bottom, it looks like this, something along this. It would obviously be professionally designed. Right now, the slogan for the city is City with a Heart, right?
Actually, Crossroads to Tomorrow.
Crossroads to Tomorrow, City with a Heart. There's a lot of different, we used to have a tree with a heart-shaped hole in it. It doesn't stand anymore. Crossroads, and Rachel or Ms. Davis put in there, come plant your roots in the city of Walnut Grove. With the tree and whatnot. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave this for you guys, and we'll bring this at the next work session, we have a little bit more discussion. And Rachel is the one who brought this too, so I want her to talk about it a little bit more, but if there's any comments or questions on it right now, we can certainly entertain this also.
Do we know how big it would be?
I do not know that. Like I said, I think she anticipated being here, but got excused from surgery a little bit later than she anticipated. And then traffic coming from that place.
How many signs? Obviously, we have
There's four.
four. So will there be four?
There's four on the main roads on 138 and 81, and they're all on the right-hand side as you enter the city or leave the city. So there would be four main signs. There are some side roads where it does say City of Walnut Grove. But I think on those main intersections is where Rachel is looking and the DDA was talking about. So that when people come in, there's something a little bit substantial. It's not at a great cost because we don't want to do anything until we know exactly what the look and the everything is going to look like. But I think we need to do something, even if it's not this decorative.
I did have a question on that. Since our borders, like let me use 81 North there. The border for our city limits on the east side, it's up by the fire station, up beyond the fire station. On the west side, it's down almost to Emerald Cove, correct? Or right at Emerald Cove.
It's right after that one street.
Right. So, would we be able, would we have to put it,
You would put it
Exactly.
wherever the sign is next. The place that you're talking about right there, as on 81, if you're coming from the city of Walnut Road, there's a sign right there after the street. It would go there. And as you enter from Conyers, it would be right there by Conyers. There's a sign there. And as you enter from Covington, it's right before your neighborhood, right there.
but, and Tony maybe will answer this, could we legally, for instance, even put it, say, where you'd be driving south, it would actually be on the left side, never like you don't see it as well, but maybe a larger sign, so that like we're including the fire station and that New Park's gonna show up that it's in our city limits versus our city limits being beyond all of that.
You could, you've got a state highway, so you have to get permission depending
Right.
on where you want to locate it or get off-site and acquire a location. But once you resolve those issues, you can do it the way you want it.
Okay.
And it's just there is a tree ordinance in your code.
Mhm.
It's section 43, it's 5 members of that.
Five members.
Yeah, now say that was interpretation, your same code says there's no planning, commission. And there's something else that's been done outside of that to create it again, so, but there is an ordinance in. Okay.
Thank you.
To my knowledge, it was never dissolved.
Any other questions about signage or comments or? All right, so you go through, all right, we're gonna go on to the text amendment ERU. This is where we had the previous discussion with the public hearing. Is there any other questions about the text amendment ERU? Are we knowledgeable about this? Does anybody have any questions or comments?
A comment, I think it is in the city's best interest, to go ahead and increase the numbers back to 250. Because some of those houses in enclave, they're 5-bedroom homes, they're large homes. And we do not want to be bordering that very fine line. We need to have a little bit of a buffer, especially at the real estate market. I see it all the time where children are moving back home with their parents and parents are moving in with their children because things are so expensive. So there could be, just because there's 5 bedrooms, there's probably more than 5 people in that house. So the sewage will increase.
I agree with that statement.
It's kind of it's a necessity for a lot of families these days. Particularly in other that's affordable.
Right. Yeah. Wish their driveways were a little bigger. It's hard to fit that many cars in the driveway.
Even in my neighborhood, we have probably 8 cars in one home. And I know that there's probably 7 or 8 adults. And then we're not on sewer anymore.
Yeah.
It's good deal. Okay.
But it's happening all over, so we need to be cognizant of that and plan accordingly.
Right.
Because I don't want any.
Mhm.
Okay, any other questions on that, everybody? Okay, let's move on. Emerald Cove paving update. I have an update and I know that, Mr. Powell, would you share with us what came through from LNCO and Mr. Aaron Wadley, the company group we approved to work with the engineering, on the
We contacted him to let him know that he was selected for the project. His bid was, I believe, September of last year. And he said he could not perform it as requested exactly. He said that the time period where he was bidding was not so busy time period. Now it's a very busy time period. So he needed to extend the time for compliance from 3 weeks to 6 weeks. And then his pricing went up 5%. And that modified the total
it was 11,000 and change. And the new schedule was 495, sorry, 12,495. And the rate for work outside of that was increased from 150 to 157.
From 150 to what?
157.50. They're both exactly 5% changes.
Tony got in touch with me and since it was still under, um, the rate of the one other company, well and under, I approved it. Actually, I just want to make you aware of that. Because we had to go through it, and I think an agreement made in September of last year, 5% increase is not unheard of. Especially with the prices right.
Yeah, I've got so many other things. I'm hearing 15% increases.
And also, in my absence, when I was out on conference, we had our insurance company come in to take a look at the road, like I, they would be doing. And I have copies of their results here. They met with a Councilmember Miles and Councilmember Davis at Emerald Cove. Discussed many different things, lots of options. I'll go ahead and ask Erica. Erica gives a little brief back. But what I want to make sure everybody hears is that the note from the insurance manager and his recommendations are here. And the recommendation, and I'm sorry it's so small. Their recommendations are to reduce the potential of a fall accident to pedestrians, bicyclists, etc. It is recommended the drop off from the edge of the asphalt to the curb and gutter be ground or milled down flush with the concrete. The hazard was caused by repaving without milling down the edge of the street. It is recommended to prevent the fall hazard in the future, repaving contracts should require the asphalt to seamlessly join the concrete. Past contracts did not require a seamless joint. This right here tells us we have to do something. This is our insurance. So we're on the right track, which is good to know. We thought we were in the first place. And we need to make note of that for future. We have to be aware. We either have an engineering firm or if we're going to be doing paving, it has to meet the gutter line, it has to meet it seamlessly to prevent issues in the future, especially since we have already come across it once that was not done. So we're on the right track. Just to share some information with council. When we met with the county, we have talked with them further about this. We have talked with the state agency to see if we can get additional financing or help with this. We're still looking into those things. Unfortunately, those things take some time to get all of the players on the same page, but we are working hard to get that done. It has never been our intent to spend inordinate amounts of money on this, but it is something that needs to be fixed. It was done incorrectly. The city is on the hook and we need to get it done, but we are making efforts to make sure we're doing it the best way possible with using the fewest amount of funds as possible, but getting it done the right way. Are there any questions or comments?
I met with, Steve and McDermott and Rachel, Miss Councilmember Davis, out at Emerald Cove, and Mr. Steve talked about grinding down the edges of the road. But we talked with I didn't have this conversation with him. He told me what his recommendation was and milling down. And so previously we talked to paving companies about milling down the road. He had the idea of getting in touch with maybe a sidewalk company and seeing what they say. So that I am in the middle of doing that. I'm reaching out to 2 different sidewalk companies to see if they do this, and if they do, what's it look like? And since they're a sidewalk company, I also need to know if we do this, is it going to, will the integrity of the road still withheld what it needs to? He also mentioned putting grates in front of driveways. Rachel has been looking at grates. The grates that what we worry about with the grates is when things are being washed down the gutters, leaves and whatnot are gonna get stuck in those grates and they're gonna get clogged. And then the city is gonna need to come clean those grates out. And so that could cost the city a lot of money and manpower that we just don't have during certain times of the year. And he also mentioned, maybe we'll just try out the grates in 6 or so driveways. Specifically, we have one veteran that has a scooter, so we were thinking about putting it in front of his driveway, because it would help him get from his driveway to the road to check his mail. But we also need to look at the integrity of the grates. We don't want Mr. Bill getting hurt because the grate breaks. That would be terrible. So we're still looking at other things because of the recommendations that Mr. Steve gave us. If we can mill it down and it doesn't mess with the integrity of the road, and it's an option, but we're gonna see what the engineers have to say. Or not the engineers, the sidewalk companies.
Well, and our engineer that we
Right.
hired out here.
Yeah.
Would the grates go down the whole length of the road? Because the issue is the danger of the lip.
Well, he was talking about putting them just in front of the driveways. But I don't, if we put them in where the stormwater is, this is like this. So the grate's gonna, it's not gonna be very sufficient there. Right.
All right, thank you for meeting them. Okay, we will go into move on to. Is there any other discussion? I'm sorry, guys, I need to cut you off. No, okay. The Georgia Cities Week, we have successfully promoted awareness and appreciation of the services provided by our city, and recognized some of our organizations in the cities. On Monday, our library and staff and volunteers were celebrated. On Tuesday, the Masonic Lodge and their members were celebrated. On Wednesday, the Lions Club and everything they do was celebrated. Today, the City of Walnut Grove First Responders was celebrated, and tomorrow, our city employees in their finest will be celebrated. And those were on our Facebook page, and that was done by Councilmember Davis. She was the one running around getting pictures, and I think Maxine probably had something to do with that a little bit too. Helping out.
A little bit,
Yeah.
not too much.
But
Mostly just editing and checking for
Mhm.
errors, and so if there are any there, it probably falls to me now.
But it was nice to put that out and celebrate those people, and we'll get it on the calendar for next year. We'll be able to maybe amp it up a little bit and do some more celebration with some other groups and organizations that plant trees. Lady. Okay. And then Germa is our insurance carrier. I wanted to make sure you all had a copy of this because it is our annual contract that we have to sign with them. And I don't know if you've read over it or not. There was one where they made a suggestion about bringing up our, where is it? Sorry, guys. I had a very busy day today. They wanted us to raise our coverage rates. So I contacted them and I talked with them. I spoke with Megan. And I asked her, I said, you've made a recommendation that you want us to raise our rates. She goes, actually, you guys are a small town. You are already at $2 million liability, which is greater than a lot of our bigger cities. We don't think you need to go up. I said, is this a general statement that you have just, when you get your insurance company telling you every year that you need to raise your rates? is this what that is? She goes, yes, we feel you guys are in very good shape. So I wanted to share that with you all. If you have any questions, you are always welcome to call them and ask them. But I wanted to share that with you because that really was the only issue. It's interesting, we had found out that with drivers, we don't have to let them know who are the drivers of our vehicles, but we do have to go ahead and run those through the DMV, which we have not done regularly, so we're in the process of getting that done. We have coverage for all employees, and we'll be having a little training session with these cards to make sure our employees know what to do in case of an accident or a fender bender or anything like that. As we talk about buildings being built or upgraded or anything like that, she said unless it's a major renovation on a building or a new build, they don't need to be made aware of anything. If you're just doing a little facelift on something or other, they don't need to be made aware of it, but they are always willing to hear what we have to say. We're also looking, we've asked them for a claims form because the library needs a new roof, and Councilmember Miles is working on that. We also need a new roof on the City Hall building. We cannot do a claim on that because it has been neglected. But we are getting some quotes on that, so we're getting that fixed. We've got some quotes going on the baseball fields to get the lights up. There's going to be some painting that needs to be done here. And all of these things are going to be presented when we are talking about the budget, which will be presented at the next council meeting on May 9th. Right? Right. So all of those things in line, we are very good friends with our insurance carrier and are up on what we need to do and what we don't need to do, which is so very important. And we're making sure that we're getting some buildings taken care of because it's been a little while that has happened. So that's what we're doing. And we're working with some of our council members and working with Brian from Public Works to help us out with a lot of that stuff too. And of course, Kimberly helps us find out all the stuff we need to know. So is there any questions about Fairwell? Any concerns about Fairwell?
I see what the question was.
I did go through, they had sent a preliminary, we had to tell them about all of our equipment, all of our buildings, all of our vehicles, any changes we had. I went through those with our Public Works Director. We made sure we had updated all the information of things that had been purchased or not purchased. So we're in very good shape with that and we submitted that in a timely manner.
The only question I have is, there's a line item in the coverage for refuse collection. And it's a fair amount, 1941.
Because garbage collection.
Okay, but what needs to be covered there, I guess is what I'm asking, since that's not an in-house thing, that's.
You're right, it's not an in-house thing. We will get on the phone with them and let them know it's not an in-house, but it's something that we've paid through a different company.
Right,
But
so, I mean, I don't
Good
know
point.
if we may still have to pay for it because it may still
Mhm.
be required since we hired them.
Okay.
Right,
I will check into that.
okay.
Okay, and I'll get back to everybody and let you know if I find out. Okay? But this amount is due. They like to get an upfront amount or at least the full amount. But we'll make sure this is paid. But it will probably should be on the council meeting.
Do we qualify for the safety grant?
We do. We do part of, yeah, that's something Public Works can do.
So we need to apply for that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's Germa. Any other questions about that? No? Okay. Can I just give a couple little things? Is that okay? If you guys don't mind. I wanted to go ahead and share that something we've done is any reimbursements for council, if we have had to pay out of our pocket for conference or anything like that. I've instituted that when a council member asks for a reimbursement, it's not only myself and our city clerk doing it, but another council member will have to sign off on it also. So it's 3 signatures rather than just 2. And I think I've called everybody. I haven't called you, Maxine, to sign off yet.
No.
I did call you the other day and I called you the other day. Yeah. And I've called Rachel to do that too. So I will make sure I just go ahead and rotate that around. Yes.
Before you move from there, should that not include reimbursements for anyone that needs a reimbursement? And not just council members?
Who else would need one?
Well, you never know. I mean,
We can do that.
I mean-
I think we can do that.
Kimberly goes to classes, Sonia goes to classes, Brian, I'm assuming takes some classes, and there may be an occasion where they have to do it as well, so.
Yeah, we can,
Where, you know,
we can do that. We can do that.
like if they're having to front their gas money or something because of circumstance. I certainly don't want them to have any trouble getting it back.
Yeah. Also, just so everybody knows, we are going to a cashless city at the end of this month. We've had signs up now for quite some time. The municipal court, and people have been made aware of it, and, we have just found that going cashless is a better policy. Also, in the Visions magazine put out by, the Walton Tribune, there was a very nice spread on the city of Walnut Grove and the historical significance of our council and being run by all women, as well as a lot of information from.
Yeah, they did quote me from last
What
year,
was that?
That's a
which was not accurate exactly, but
Visions magazine. It's an annual, and I want to thank all of the council members for being at the Grove Park groundbreaking. I went and attended a meeting, had a meeting with Mr. Powell and our commissioner and the county. What's the
Manager.
Thank you, manager. And they were just as thrilled as all of you guys were with the event and how it turned out. They are so looking forward to working with the city of Walnut Grove. And it was just a great feeling to walk into that meeting, and I have faith in all of you guys anyway, but they just thought it went off without a hitch, and it was wonderful. So thank you all for being there. I appreciate you speaking on behalf of the city. It's not always easy, but I think you did a wonderful job. And as a final thought, both Councilmember Davis and I are going to a small cities conference next week on both Thursday and Friday. The cost is only $150 per member. And we applied for a grant for one person to get coverage, and we got it. So the city's only paying $150 for two of us, rather than both of us having to pay $150. So I was very pleased. I think that's the first time we are attending that conference. I think that's the first time we applied for that grant and we got it. So that's really great. So I just wanted to share that too. So I'm very excited about that. The topics are very on topic for the things that we're going through right now. So I'm really looking forward to that. We are not staying over. We are driving to Carrollton and home each day to cut down on costs. We don't want to spend the money. And we're committed to doing that. That's all right. Go on some little road trips every day. But it's going to be really great. So I think it's going to be good. And we'll come back and share the information that we can. Is there anything else for anybody else? Anybody else want to share anything or no?
I just want to say how proud I am of Mayor Moncrief. She has really stepped up in this role, and she's done a lot of digging and analyzing and just going to this conference, her and Councilmember Davis, that just speaks volumes about how much they care about the city. And I really appreciate the hard work.
Anything else for anybody, guys? We don't have executive session tonight. We don't have any information, right? Not yet?
We do not.
Okay. And then, so I'm going to go ahead and ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Is there a second?
A second.
All in favor?
I
Okay.